Hey there, Aries. Welcome to your reading for the week of November 1st. We're going to jump right in here, Aries, and we are going to see what is going on for you at this time, Aries. Let's see here. I'm using this new deck, the Oracle of the Mystical Moments is the word I was looking for. So that's what this last card is. Also, I'm using this new setup. So let me know what you think of this new setup here with the overhead camera. Again, it's not perfect yet, but, I'm sure some people will, comment about the space and everything like that. But, for the most part, I'll figure it out, Aries. But let's see here what is going on for you here. Very similar energies here, Aries, to like what I think you have been experiencing. You have this fork in the road card here. It's actually one of my favorite cards in this deck. This is the Wisdom of the Oracle. And I love this card. There's clearly some sort of new beginning coming in for you here, and I feel like it has to do with a choice that you're making. You do have the Tower here. It's kind of funny because you also have this card here in this Oracle deck, and there is a tower on it, Aries. So I feel for some of you but look, I mean, that's a built up, that's a rebuilt tower right there. It's a tower that has been kind of rebuilt in a lot of ways. The Fool, as your last card here, he's always going through cycles of death and rebirth as well. Kind of very interesting energies that are going on here, Aries. So I do feel like you have a choice to make. The choice is probably to stay in a situation that is dead, done, over with, or to move on. In a lot of ways, I would say that you're moving on. Eight of Cups, Ten of Swords, the World. Are you kidding me? I mean, if there was ever one combination only that represented ending a cycle or ending a situation, it would be this combination right here, right? Totally represents bringing something to an end, wrapping things up. The World is an accomplishment. I love the World, but it is an accomplishment. It is a card of achieving greater things. Eight of Cups, walking away from things that no longer serve you. Ten of Swords can be a difficult ending, but it's something that needs to come to the end nonetheless, right? The Ten of Swords represents something that is dead, done, over with. I do feel that you are kind of maybe having a realization that things are dead, done, over with. The reason I use the word realization is because of the Tower. I mean, the Tower can be a sudden upheaval. It can be a sudden realization. It can be uncomfortable, just like the Ten of Swords. But again, it is part of the Fool's journey. The Tower is just part of the journey. It's part of life, right? So let's see here, Aries. With the Eight of Cups here, you have two cards, Ace of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands if it wants to focus here. Sometimes when I get readings like this, I feel like the Ten of Wands is the burden that you're experiencing here, heavy energy. It's like you're experiencing the burden of loss. You're experiencing the burden of walking away from a person in a relationship. You're experiencing the burden of change in general, but the Ace of Pentacles is the potential of something. It is, what kind of like says, what you're holding on to right now is, so much smaller than what you could experience in the future. There's like a much bigger potential in the future here, Aries. So I would definitely not be afraid to let go of something here. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Page of Wands, open to adventure. Page of Wands is just being ready to go along for the ride, being ready to experience something new, to go on an adventure, to experience new things, to have fun. It's a fun card, and I feel like that's what you're opening up to here. And with the World, you know what this is, Aries? Something has changed here, Aries. I feel that for some of you, it's like you have gained a new perspective in the sense that it's like you're just seeing another way of living. Three of Cups, there's three people on this card here. I almost feel like, intuitively, I just like the story that's popping into my head is I feel like you were living life like one of these people over here. Like, I feel like the one in the red is you, Aries. And maybe you've been living life like the person in the white, right? Maybe you have family or friends or whatever that kind of you live similarly to the people around you. And the person in this yellow here, I feel like is like something that's catching your eye. I feel like you're seeing that you don't have to live life in a certain way. I feel like a lot of people are starting to have these realizations, right? That, maybe people, whoever, school, society, whatever, somebody tells us we have to live our life a certain way. And I feel that there's some sort of like awakening going on right now, but I feel like this awakening is, again, I feel the awakening that's happening is just people saying to themselves like, why do I have to live life like this? Why, according to whose rules? Like, I feel like people are starting to realize that there are no rules. There is no one that is like, says, you have to do this, you have to do that, right? I kind of get a sense of freedom here, which again we first see with the Page of Wands. Before that, the Fool could have been like the first clue that this reading was moving in a more free direction. But I feel like you're kind of like almost like wanting to break the rules, challenging the rules, but it's not like in the sense like you're going to jail or something like that, Aries. I feel like this is much more, this is something much more subtle. Next, you have this healing the heart here. I don't really feel, for some of you, I mean, you could be experiencing a breakup and that could be the thing that you are healing with this energy. I feel like this is healing the heart in the sense that you are discovering who you truly are, which is something much deeper. Again, I've been saying to you for months, like, I always get these feelings for you, Aries, that you could have been or have been living other people's lives, and maybe that's what's crumbling down. The Tower could be destructive, but at the same time, if you've been living other people's lives and if you don't really know who you are, then you are healing your heart, because it's like if you don't know who you are and if you don't know like what you like or, if you don't know what you enjoy to do in life and all that other stuff, that does require healing the heart. I always tell people, it's like, if you go through a breakup, for example, then, I feel like the best thing you could possibly do is focus on yourself for a good amount of time. You have to rediscover yourself, figure out what you like, because you've been living, if you've been with a person for like a year or years, for example, it's like you start to like the same things they do, and then you kind of lose track of who you are. I get that feeling here for you, Aries, where a lot of you could be or have lost track of the things that you enjoy. Maybe you're waking up in the morning, on the extreme end of the scale. Maybe you don't like what you see in the mirror because you don't like yourself for whatever reason. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you, Aries. I'm just saying maybe if this message resonates, maybe you don't like who you have become, right? I think the comforting thing about this reading is that there is the sense of the fact that there's so much more available to you. There's like this sense of excitement and potential. I think potential is challenging because it doesn't exist. You have the High Priestess here on a very simple level. The High Priestess is a card of potential. She just represents unlimited potential in your life, but you have to be the one to put in the work, right? So you have the Tower, the High Priestess, and the Chariot. It's like you will be victorious, but, in a lot of ways, I feel like this is a reading of discovery, because it's like you have to discover your own things that you enjoy doing in your life or that you want to do. Same thing in career. Again, this is not just about love. Like I said, it's like if you've been at the same career, it's like maybe or if you've had the same business for a very long time, sometimes these things become a part of our identity, right? It reminds me of, I used to work at Starbucks and when I was younger, and I used to go to the store and I would like see people that I knew from Starbucks, and they would be like, Starbucks. They didn't know my name. They didn't know who I was. They just would be like, Starbucks. That's what they would call me, right? And I talked to other people that I worked with, and like the same thing would happen to them. They'd just be like, Starbucks. They wouldn't know your name, and it's fine. It didn't bother me that they didn't know my name or anything like that. It's just funny that it's like, it became a part of my identity. Like that was my identity, right? I kind of get that for you here, where it's like maybe you are realizing that something has become a part of your identity and you don't want to be that. I feel like I said this exact same thing to you in your November reading. I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure that I said something. There was something going on with your identity, or like who you are, or how you identify with the world. And I feel like you see that there's so much more. There's like so much more potential inside of you here. And I feel like you're going on an adventure to discover that with the Chariot. I really do feel like it would be a good time to just play, to play with life. And this could include like discovering new hobbies. Maybe you need to take some time, even if it's just 30 minutes a day, to like maybe discover basket weaving, or I don't know, whatever it is that you want to do. Because I feel like there is this rebuilding that is going on here. You have the Tower, you have the crumbling down. I feel like the Tower has already happened in your life. Some sort of truth that you've always believed has turned out not to be true. That's a feeling that I get on the Tower, right? Or not true for you, right? And it's probably, like I was saying over here, based off of what society says. Like maybe you got married and maybe you decided, I don't want to be married, right? But maybe you never want to be married. And it's like, who says we have to get married in the first place? Who makes up those rules, right? And it's like, so something that can cause a Tower moment. It's like everybody says, oh, you have to do this, you have to fit into this mold. But it's like when you don't fit into the mold, that's when you have a Tower moment, because you're like, oh my God, I'm not like everybody else. At the same time, I feel like this is kind of very freeing as well. It's like if you don't fit into a mold, you're like, wow, I'm not like everybody else. And I feel like you're kind of like discovering who you are on a very deep level. This is super deep reading here, Aries. With the Tower, you have the Ace of Cups here. Again, the Ace of Cups could represent a healing going on in this situation with the Tower. I do feel like some of you have had a Tower moment as far as love is concerned. Maybe you're realizing that marriage isn't what you thought it was going to be, or maybe you already had your divorce and realized that it's not what you thought it was. Maybe you are realizing that relationships aren't what you think they are, or whatever. I don't know. It could be any type of realization that you're having here, and I feel like you're healing that on a certain level with the Ace of Cups. You have two aces here. Definite yes to any question I haven't answered. The Tower is a good card because in the sense that they have built those walls up around them too high on the Tower card, and it represents building something up in the air. Needing to come down to earth, needing to ground something in reality. So for a lot of you, that's what I feel like you're doing. With the High Priestess, you have the Hermit right here. A lot of Hermit energy this week. Pretty interesting. I feel for a lot of you, for just like a lot of people, I mean, it's been a very challenging time, very challenging year, right? We've a couple of years, almost 2 years, right? I don't even know. I've lost track of time. I feel like I'm in just a fever dream since last March. So yeah, I mean, weird times. And I feel like you have kind of climbed to the top of the mountain. In a lot of ways, the Hermit is the teacher. It kind of like says that I do feel like part of me feels that super spiritual people, or you don't have to be super spiritual, but just spiritual people in general, I think part of our duty right now is to show people that we create our own reality, that we can create more freedom, or that we don't have to, live life according to so-and-so, right? And the Hermit is about being a teacher. He is an example. He has climbed to the top of a mountain, and he's shining his inner light. He is an example to other people in the world, and because he has gone through something difficult, and now he has found his inner light. So for a lot of you, it's like by breaking free from whatever you're breaking free from, you could be showing people that you are an example. With the Chariot here, you have the Eight of Pentacles, putting in the work. So definitely there is work to be done. Like I said, there's a lot of potential. Potential basically means nothing, because you can have a lot of potential and not do anything with it. So I would put in the work. I'd also stay focused at this time. Definitely a victory coming in for you. Next, you have this Keys on Trees card here. Isn't it funny that I was saying that it's like there's something that needs to be grounded down to earth with that Tower card, and you basically have a tower on that card right there. And there's also this elephant that is kind of like in a cage. I don't know if you can see that there, Aries, at the top of the card, but it's like this elephant in a cage. It's kind of like, it's almost like I'm seeing that as wisdom or knowledge. Hermit right here can represent wisdom, and it's almost like something needs to be revealed, but it's like not. I feel like something is staying stuck in that cage. So I feel like you need to release something. Something needs to be grounded to earth. Like, again, the key to opening the door, they are on the trees, meaning they need to come down to earth, just like on the Tower card. You have the Fool, the King of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles. I know what this is. This is you taking a risk. The Fool is like about to take a risk. He's about to jump off of a cliff, and he could be. It's like he could get hurt, but it could also be fun. he could jump off the cliff and roll down a hill like when we were children, right? And he could have a lot of fun doing it. Maybe it isn't a cliff. He could also take the leap, and a step could appear in front of him. A step that starts the journey to whatever, greatness, excitement, adventure, whatever. So I feel for a lot of you, this is kind of like saying you're taking a risk. I feel like the risk you're taking is to move away from comfort. You have the King of Pentacles here. The King of Pentacles can definitely represent a comfort zone. He represents this like establishment. I don't really consider him a bad card. I just consider him to maybe sometimes be a little bit more boring in a sense. I don't really think he's boring, but he's just always the same, So I feel like you're trying to break away from that. Two of Pentacles, having fun. Two of Pentacles is a card of like work hard, play hard, needing to do more things that you enjoy, so that you can experience more happiness, more joy in your life. So I kind of feel more that message on the Two of Pentacles. With the Fool, you have the King of Swords here. King of Swords, like, I would just be careful of anyone who hasn't done anything here with the King of Swords. It's like there are certain people who live life in just pure fear, right? And maybe you don't see these people as fearful people. Maybe you see them more as judgmental, is kind of like what I'm getting here. But I actually feel like they're operating from not a place of judgment. I feel like they're operating from a place of fear. I feel like this could be parents. This could be, siblings. It could be anyone in your life. But I just feel like some of you, it's like you have people in your life where anytime you make a change, I feel like they have something to say about it. Or anytime you want to do something, I feel like they have something to say about it. It's like they're always casting judgment. I feel like they do this from a more protective kind of place, but at the same time I feel like you have to live your own life. That's the whole point of the Fool. Part of this reading, a big part of it, I feel, is you rediscovering an identity. Could be a new identity as well. You could be, we are allowed to change. Like, this is something, like, I was meditating before I did my readings, like, a couple weeks ago, and I was like, getting like, this thing about we're allowed to change. Like, these were the words that were popping into my head while I was doing meditation, and then it started showing up in the readings as well, and it was kind of weird, because I was like, what the hell does that mean? But again, I feel like it's like people nowadays think, like, oh, you can only be this, like, one thing, right? It's like everybody's locking themselves in to an identity, but at the same time, I feel like we're allowed to change, right? We don't have to be the same. We are not static individuals. And so I would say anyone who's trying to lock you into an identity, I don't think you have to cut these people out, but setting boundaries is a good idea. With the King of Pentacles, definitely moving away from this King of Pentacles energy. I don't really feel like it's a person. It could be, but I feel if it's a person, that's just part of it. I feel like you're changing, things that have been established. And with the Two of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Wands. 3 aces in your reading. This is like a really powerful new beginning as well. I really feel like you're reinventing yourself, Aries, in a very big way. I've talked about this to you for weeks. So clearly, this is something that you've been working on for a long time. It wouldn't surprise me. I think I said this in your last reading as well. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, over the next couple of weeks or, over the next, as we move into the new year, I should say, if you start thinking about doing something different, doing something new. And I'm talking about, like, in work or business. And it's probably going to lead to more freedom, I would say. Love it. We're going to pull 3 yes or no question cards now here, Aries. And we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. Feel free to pause this reading if you need time to think of your questions. If you don't have questions, that's fine too. I'm just going to put them all together. For question number 1, yes, Knight of Wands. So I would say yes. I feel like there is going to be a lot of success and happiness coming in for you here. Definitely a lot of abundance as well. For question number 2, I'd say no. 8 of Swords, something keeping you stuck. Didn't you have the 8 of Swords here, or am I making that up? What was this? No, you have the 8 of Cups, right. But I feel like you need to set yourself free from question number 2. And for question number 3, you have the Knight of Swords. I would say yes, actually, for question number 3. Putting this all together, though, I feel like you need to move more towards the Knight of Wands energy, which is like a much more free, much more fun energy. He's more spontaneous. He's more willing to take risks. He's more willing to build something as well. And that's popping into my head. He is like the builder in the tarot. He is willing to build something up. He is willing to create something or build something new in his life. And that's what I feel like this is saying with the Knight of Wands. Like, you have to be willing to build up something new. You have to be willing to change. But damn, Aries, this is like a deep change that is happening inside of you. Pretty significant, I would say. I love this reading. I really do. I feel like, what you are moving towards is so much more outside the box, very inside the box, staying over here, the old way of doing things. It's like now you're much more free to, like, kind of design your own life. And I feel like that's very powerful. So thank you for being here, Aries. Love it. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your week.